welcome to the Press Start Podcast, Press Start Australia's weekly video game discussion podcast. I'm your host, Ewan, joined today by my fellow gamers and co-hosts, James.
Hello.
And Shannon.
Hello.
Today we're going to be talking about changes to Game Pass, PlayStation returning to TGS, the Final Descendant Palworld, and the ill-fated Netflix adaptation of Horizon Zero Dawn. But first, Shannon, I need to know, what is this that you're eating? Why does it have a minion on it?
It's a banana and caramel pie, which I don't think is new, but they've just rebranded for Despicable Me 4.
Oh, yeah. I forgot they're doing like...
now that I think of it, I think I have had one, but not in this run. It's good. It's a good pie.
Your dinner? Have you?
Not really. It's been I don't know. I haven't really had a solid meal today. It's just been
He's
lots
had like
of eating at different points.
An 8-course degustation, but across like a full day.
Can you talk about
it is really good though.
Okay. I don't know if I'm
continue.
a big banana dessert fan.
Nah, I love this banana range
mix.
slaps.
Does it?
If I'm being
Okay.
honest.
What else is in the
so good.
range?
It's like actually
Banana shake.
the McFlurry sucks, but the banana pie and the banana shake are good.
Okay, all right. I might have to go check it
Maybe
out.
I was a minion in a past life.
Groot.
Can you talk about
What?
Groot? Gru, you mean, right? Groot.
Groot. I don't know what his name. I've actually not seen any of the Despicable Me minion.
Oh,
Yeah,
I think I've only seen
Neither
the
have I.
first one. In fairness, that's
I've
probably
just seen,
the
like,
one you need to see.
Minion
I would
memes
say.
posted on mums' Facebooks and stuff.
I've mostly
Not
just
my
seen
mum,
phone
just other
cases.
mums. Yeah, right. Anyway,
Anyway, if
can you
you're
talk
still
about what you
listening,
were doing, Shannon, today?
I can. The Australian embargo has lifted, even though the device has been out worldwide for quite some time.
Do tell.
Yeah, I got head on with the Apple Vision Pro, which was it was good. I didn't know what to expect, to be honest. Like, yeah, my expectations were like I knew it'd be good, but I just felt like as someone who's used like every headset on the market, like I didn't know whether I would be blown away. And I was, to be honest. Like, again, obviously it's $6,000, so you'd expect it to be the best one on the market, but just in terms of like clarity and how crisp everything was, and just intuitive and like Apple-like, it was, yeah, on another level in terms of how good it was, to be honest.
Interesting. Do you see it as something you could see yourself using on a regular basis? Did you get much of a...
I don't know. It's a
feel for
hard
that?
one because like I have used the Meta Quest a few times for like productivity things, but the clarity is just not there. Like especially for me with impaired vision, like it's just not great. Where this was like looking at your phone or any other screen, like it was as crisp as text on a screen in front of you can be. Probably not. This is a first gen device, and I feel like Apple knew it wasn't going to fly off the shelves. But I think as a proof of concept, as it gets cheaper, as it gets smaller, I don't know. It's exciting tech. I don't know what you would use it for day to day, but as like a cool piece of tech that you want to try, and it just feels unbelievable. It's definitely that. Which again, $6,000. I know, it's expensive, but yeah, cool.
Yeah,
just cool to use.
Very interesting.
If
Lucky
you
get
you
to
can
give it a
book
go.
in and get fitted, and like they did my lenses for my glasses, like, and I think you can have a similar experience in an Apple store. So highly recommend anyone doing that wants to give it a go without forking out for one.
Yeah, okay. I feel like they would definitely be putting the pressure on for you to buy one.
I think that I don't think they do. I don't think
No,
Apple
okay.
salespeople are like that. They've got enough money. They're not looking for a buck.
Yeah. James, I did want to ask you something as well before we get stuck into the news. I wanted to hear about Kunitso-Gami Path of the Goddess, which I think you mentioned before the show. You managed to play a demo of. Is this a demo that's like freely available to everyone?
it
or
is.
This
So
nice?
all of us could have played it, maybe. But
Look, I did
Nah,
watch the
nah.
gameplay and the trailer that you kind of suggested I do, and I don't know if I'm jumping at the
Yeah,
chance to
okay.
play this game personally, but I want to hear what you have to say. Did you enjoy your time with it?
yeah, the demo is very generous. So I think it's about 2 to 3 hours ish.
Oh, wow.
Maybe I just took ages. Do you like tower defense, Ewan?
Not so much.
No,
Nah.
that's made my interest even lower than it was, which was 0.
Nah, so you get put into like an area, and you've got to like get your goddess from point A to point B, and she has to purify like a demon gate at the end. So, but you play as like a warrior, so you can do like you're part of the combat as well. So like you can go and just hack shit up. It's kind of like Devil May Cry-esque in its approach with the combat. So yeah, and then but you can also like save villagers and turn them into like mages or like woods cutters, or which are like melee builds and stuff. So and then you position them around the map, and then you're gonna kind of get all that done before nighttime, and then demons attack, and you're gonna kind of defend while she dances towards the gate to purify it. But it is genuinely pretty good. Like I don't like it. I agree. Like I watched the trailer, it didn't immediately jump at me. I think this is the perfect game for a demo because it is on Game Pass when it comes out.
Okay.
But it is, yeah. Like I don't know. There's something about it. It's really cool. Like it's way more involved than a typical tower. I feel like with normal tower defenses, I don't really like how you kind of just set shit up and just watch it. I feel like that's kind of a bit boring. But I feel like this gives you a lot of agency as a player. To go, actually like fight the battles rather than just watch them play out after you've set up your rounds and stuff.
Yeah.
And then it obviously has this very unique Japanese flair to it that I think no one could really do besides Capcom. So I think they've done a pretty solid job.
I must admit, I did like the look of the kind of art style. Like, it reminded me a little bit of what they did with the multiplayer component of Ghost of Tsushima, where they kind of make it quite, like, dark and supernatural. And I know you're rolling your eyes, because
I'm nodding
I
enthusiastically.
went on at length about how cool that art style that was, but it reminded me of that, so that's praise.
Yeah. I do encourage everyone who's, like, kind of on the fence. Like, even if you don't normally like this kind of thing, I'm the same. But I was surprised at how excited I was to play the rest of it. I think the normal stuff, kind of the normal concerns kind of are there. Like, I don't know how fun this will be for, like, the whole game. Like, if they're going to keep throwing stuff at you.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, I genuinely think it's worth a try, the demo. It's free.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And hey, if you've got Game Pass as well, you can play it that way too, as well.
It's also that time where, like, there's not a lot out, right? Like, I feel like this is, like, if you want something really unique and interesting that, like, kind of hasn't really been done before, like, I feel like this is definitely up your alley.
Yeah, I'm still feeling that at the moment. It is a little bit quieter, but that is all soon about to change, I fear. Look, you mentioned Game Pass there. That is actually the first thing from the news this week that I was eager to discuss because it is getting some changes, notably a bit of a rejig to kind of what subscription tiers there are, but also kind of price bumps to match as well. So Xbox Game Pass for console is being removed and being replaced by Xbox Game Pass Standard, they're calling it, which excludes day one releases and Xbox Cloud Gaming. So you'll only have access to like the back catalog of games that are in there, as well as all the multiplayer access that you kind of get as part of like what was formerly Xbox Gold, I suppose. And that's going to set you back $14.99 US a month. We're still waiting for Aussie prices on that one. Game Pass Ultimate is going up to $23. It's currently $19. PC Game Pass is going up to $14, up from $11. And Game Pass Core, which is that just the multiplayer component? Game Pass
I think
Core
is just, it's kind of like, remember the PlayStation Plus where there was like 10 to 20 games that you got?
Okay,
like,
right.
Kind of
it's
that,
like
right?
old
It's
games, and
it's like
a
the,
few.
Yeah, like
right.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's going up $10, so that's going to $90 a year as opposed to $80. And those last prices were all in Australian, by the way. So yeah, Game Pass Ultimate, which is what I've got for my Xbox console and my PC, going up from $19 to $23. So kind of much like everything else, kind of feels like it's going up in price. James, what did you make of these changes? Does it come as much of a surprise to you that these are going up?
I think price increase doesn't surprise me. Like that really doesn't surprise me. And I also kind of think fair enough, in a way. Out of all of this, like I feel like just there's now 4 different tiers of Game Pass, right? Like I know some of them are very like PC as an example is quite specific. the fact that there's now 4 tiers, and they can't really say like play it day one with Game Pass anymore. Like, I guess they could just say play it day one with Game Pass Ultimate, but I just feel like it's very much muddied the marketing for it all now.
I think the name standard as well, like that. I don't know. Just when Game Pass has always been like James said, play it day one. Like just calling it standard when it's totally changing up what Game Pass is confusing.
And
I think.
Yeah, and like I think if they were going to do something like that, maybe just rename all of them. But then now that I'm saying it out loud, that's probably even worse. But like, but I'm like, does this include like say Path of the Goddess, which is a Capcom game? Like, is that
That's what everyone's wondering today when they?
It is no, it's absolutely
no, it's true.
Sure.
It's a good point.
But you know what I mean? Like, so like first party Xbox, sure, like there's a different tier for that now. But like, is a game like Path of the Goddess, which is made by a third party developer, is that included in the other Game Passes or only in Ultimate?
Or like say
like
another Minecraft came out or something that's like.
Yeah.
I don't want to label games as different, but like more general and not like $120. Like, would that be included? It just muddies the waters.
I think what's frustrating about this is every time Xbox makes an announcement, there's way more questions than answers. Like with stuff like this, right?
Yeah,
like
the timeline
we still don't really know
of
what
this was the worst thing. Like, I woke up this morning at 7:30. It was the first thing I saw like pop up in my notifications, and no one else had spoken about it. But then I noticed like the footnote that said there is a new tier called Xbox Game Pass Standard. And then I clicked on it to find out what it was, and there was nothing. And there was nothing for hours and no information about like what was going up where or anything. And like, it's awful communication on something that you can't be awful on. Like,
yeah, I think the lack of day one releases is the biggest kind of pain point in all this for me, because like that seems so central to what the Game Pass offering was, that the fact that now like the standard tier doesn't include that, like that feels like it should kind of be a standard. I introduced like maybe increasing the price of that and introducing a lower tier model, but the way that they've kind of rejigged this is a bit weird. Like, I understand paying a premium if you've got a console and a PC and you want to kind of get like most out of that, but I don't think then the day one element should be bundled into that premium option. Like, that's kind of where the middle line should be, I sort of feel, particularly when like you've just kind of come out of what was a bit of a tour de force for Xbox and said, hey, the next Call of Duty is going to be a day one release. Like, chances are you had people kind of readied their subscriptions there and then that may not be at the right tier now.
I agree with all that, and I think the one saving grace is that the current subscribers like don't have to do anything. Like, I think there's going to be a price increase. I don't know if we know for sure, but like their tier that they've got with day one is staying the same. Otherwise, it would have been a big slap in the face after having like 18 months of not a lot to then be like, hey, we're about to start releasing games.
That would be until it renews, right?
I don't think so. I think that the way I read it, and again, I've been like sort of all over the place today, is that as long as you stay subscribed, you will stay on that tier.
Okay, so you're not going to lose. And
no,
God, does that not just make it more confusing?
If it lapses or you change, then you can never go back.
Now, right?
It is. Yeah. It's very confusing. Like, every subscription model is confusing, and I think part of that is the old sales model of like, we just want you to go for the top one, and most people will do that, and now they're paying more. So I think that is part of it. Yeah. Like, it's kind of designed to make you just go for the one that has everything, and most people will. I don't know. I can see both sides of it, and we've spoken at length about like, is Game Pass viable? I think this is them saying like, it probably isn't viable. It's not growing how we thought, and now we're putting the biggest game on the planet on it, so we need to make sure we're getting as much money as possible in case there is an influx of people. And then I think if that doesn't work, we're going to see this change or go away dramatically again.
Like we've said in the past that this business model was not sustainable. Like, there was no way that you could continue to pay $15 a month when you may have otherwise been spending $100 a month on a new release game. Like, there's just going to be less money coming in and therefore less money available to developers. So it's going to have to change, and I fear it's just going to have to keep increasing in price as well. Like, this is just how this kind of model operates, right? Like, it's penetrative pricing.
I feel like it's also
come in
like
cheap, get people to subscribe to it, and then increase it over time to support the content costs. Like that's just Netflix has done the same. Now, but that is probably 3 or 4 times
now that
as
I
much
think
as
of
it
it
was
though,
when it
like,
first launched.
I don't know what Game Pass was before, but I think it was like about $12, $13 a month. Now, if it's $23, $24 a month, like, and you were thinking, oh, maybe I do want to get an Xbox or Game Pass because of COD, I feel like you're not going to do that now because you're just going to pay for COD on your PlayStation. Like,
yeah, you would have to play like two. I mean, it's not a lot, but you'd have to play 2 or 3 kind of more full title releases, like full size releases.
It's
right?
not a lot, but like it's
Full
$300 a year, so like it's not $10 a month. Like it's, I don't know.
Yeah. No, I get that.
Know. It's
But I'm
hard.
saying
But
if you
like,
play more than like
this is-
3 or 4 games,
It's
like
it's good value. I
still.
think it's good
Yeah.
value for most people. I just don't. If you haven't subscribed to this point, I don't know. It's a hard one.
Well, I don't think they're about growing anymore. I think they're about getting more money out of the people who are now going to stay subbed anyway.
Yeah.
Right? Because, like, you don't want to grow to that casual COD audience because then if you're paying $240 a year, those people would just buy COD, like, for half the price. Like, but we know that there are people like that who just buy COD every year and then play that.
Yeah.
You know, maybe FIFA and GTA.
Yeah.
But, like...
And I don't think this is for them.
And that, that audience is not being kind of even attempted to be captured anymore. I think that was what they wanted to do a while ago, and now, now it's just like, no.
I think to James's earlier, go James, finish your...
No, I was just gonna say, like, for somebody like me, it is immense value. Like, like Path of the
But
Goddess.
you're already on it, and you're staying on your tier, so I don't know that helps them at all.
No, yeah, well, that's the thing. Like, nothing changes, right? But in terms of all the games that I play, like, for me, it is quite good value. Like, 2 games this month alone almost pay for my year, and that's not including anything else for the rest of the year, like Avowed, Indiana Jones, etc.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I think
I
to
know.
James's first point, I think that it just, the part that hurts them the most is that it now gets murky when their entire strategy has been like, you can play these day one on Game Pass, and like that's been their zinger marketing line after every showcase. When PlayStation's had a showcase and they've come out after, they've had the banner about you can play all of these games on Game Pass, and then you add in the confusion of more and more games coming to PlayStation. I think this is where it just starts to get risky for them. But then looking at the business side of it, I don't know what other option they have if they want to make these games profitable, because we all know how hard it is to make money on AAA games at this point in time. So just have to wait and see.
Yeah. I mean, some of these games cost hundreds of millions of dollars to make, right? So,
But yeah, I think if this just came out and it was Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, it's going out $4 a month. Like, again, it's shit, but everything's gone up this year. Like, I can't think of a single streaming service that hasn't gone up once or twice in the last year.
The most jarring one for me has been Amazon Prime Video. Like, my subscription changed there, such
ads.
that I now get ads. Yeah.
I made that point as well to someone.
Yeah, I was trying to just scrub through, because I fall asleep like watching shit all the time, right? And so I fell asleep during the most recent episode of The Boys, and was like trying to scrub to like where I was in the episode, and got hit by ads twice, like just trying to scrub halfway through. It's like, yeah, it's a very degraded experience now in that regard. But like, I guess like,
are you going to pay your $3 a month or whatever it is to?
Well, I may well have to, yeah. They're putting out good shows at the moment. This is the problem. They've got me.
I don't want to go all capitalism. I think it does blow my mind that these companies make so much money and they just want to make more. Like, I don't know. It's such a tough one. Like, Amazon.
It's like, it is annoying. It's like we made $2 billion
though,
instead of $3 billion. And that they're upset about that.
But then when you break it down, maybe Prime Video doesn't make money. So I don't know. I kind of understand how these things operate.
I think Prime
separately.
is like such a different like
it is.
sitch though, right? Because you have the shipping. The shipping, you just can't undervalue the free shipping. Big free shipping person.
But yeah, I think
shipping.
Again, we always speak about Xbox's communication, and it's always awful. I was telling James,
It's
like,
fucking
they had a high
terrible.
yesterday with the Fire TV stick. Like, I posted a video on it, and like there was so many people excited by it. Like, people that aren't gamers were messaging me being like, "Is this true?" Like, that have a Fire Stick, and then they come out the next day and bury it with this, and it's like, why would you do that? I cannot understand a single other company that would.
And then they'll announce a controller tonight.
Yeah, it's true. It's just bizarre. Like, their messaging needs to be fixed. It just feels like there's no strategy long term.
They need to bring Pete Hines back, I reckon. That was always put a lot of stock in him as in PR and comms.
Don Matrix, roll him out.
God.
Dot Matrick and
Unfreeze him
Stay
like
away.
whatever cryogenic chamber he's kept in. I don't know.
I think sooner rather than later we're going to be talking about Xbox for the games and not this kind of shit. And I'm excited for that day.
Yeah. God hope that they I bet they hope they'll be in the same case as well. Okay, let's move on. I want to talk about PlayStation reappearing at the Tokyo Game Show. The last time they attended TGS was back in 2019, which I guess feels like a long time ago, but we did have COVID in amongst all of that, which probably threw a big spanner in the works. But James, what are your hopes for PlayStation at TGS? Do you think they'll have some fun announcements planned?
This actually
Path of the Goddess.
surprised. Part 2 exclusive DLC. Astrobot collab. This actually surprised me a lot because this might sound strange to say, but I don't think PlayStation cares about Japan anymore. Like with their output, I genuinely think they just wanted to get all that, Last of Us, Ghost of Tsushima money. So yeah, like cool, I guess. I don't, but then I think about what they've got, and like Death Stranding.
We had Rebirth out this year as well. Like,
yeah, but that's like not them real. Like that was happening. They just decided, like, I don't know. But yeah, I think they probably thought that was going to be bigger than it was. If we're being honest, like, I think they've actually said that. But yeah, like I think when I think of like say if Death as an example, I think this is a perfect place to say demo Death Stranding, because that game has resonated quite well with Japan. Yeah, I don't know what I expect. Like I would love them to be like, oh, we're opening Japan studio back up, bring everyone back. The gang is all here. Here's Gravity Rush 3 or something like that. But yeah, it does surprise me a little bit, but it's I don't really know. Like I think it just means we'll see Death Stranding. To be honest, that's all I can think of off the top of my head.
Yeah, I don't feel like this is the right event for Death Stranding. I feel like Death Stranding's just kind of TGS doesn't really attract the kind of mainstream interest that I think they would want for a proper Death Stranding reveal.
To be totally honest,
yeah, but Kojima makes his I feel like he can announce something at the Brazil game show and it will still make ripples throughout the internet. Personally.
I'm gonna put water on your fire, and I just think that they're just gonna have Astrobot and Lego Horizon, because I feel like as long as I've been attending these global events, like you never get to play anything PlayStation first party, and to know that they were both at SGF in playable fashion, like I think they're just gonna have them there, and I think they are like presence. I agree with James. Like they don't care about these types of things, but I feel like games like Astrobot and Lego Horizon, like you would just have at something like this, because they do demo well and they're not your big hitters. The other thing I was thinking is like the only way PlayStation could get back into Japan territory is like with a new portable, because obviously the Vita is still massive in Japan. I don't think that's happening, but like. I don't know. Maybe
I feel like so you're like I'm gonna pour water on your fire, but then you're also like
Sony's gonna announce me that.
Well, that was my initial thought, and then I actually thought about it, but I'm just gonna throw it out there.
Yeah, I kind of hope
it's like
we
September,
get a surprise or two. To James, I think to your point, like I think at least optically they're not sort of seen to be championing Japanese-made games in the same sort of way that they once did. So for them to rectify that, even if it is like Shuhei coming out with like a bunch of kind of indie titles or like smaller sort of like AA titles, that kind of thing, that they're supporting from the market, like that could be really quite cool.
Yeah, I think it's good when PlayStation and Nintendo are at these things. Like we know that they can hold their own events now, and their impacts is just as felt, but. Yeah, like let's be honest, like PlayStation, Nintendo, Xbox are the brands that people want to see at these things.
And I sort of feel like the Game Awards is probably more likely to be where we see Death Stranding. If we see more of it this year.
I'm predicting now there's going to be a Death Stranding presence at this event. Like,
I could see Kojima doing a round table or something. Like I'm not seeing like a PlayStation TGS showcase type thing. So unless you think he's just going to be walking around the
maybe
show
he does like an
with
interview
an iPad.
and he
I think Astrobot, Death Stranding, and Phantom Blade Zero.
Okay. I feel like you know something now that you're not
No, I
telling us.
don't
feel
know
like
anything.
Ghost of Tsushima 2. I feel it. It's coming at TGS on the show floor.
Isn't Sucker Punch like from San Francisco? Like,
Yeah, but it's Japanese.
San Diego.
The game.
oh,
No.
thanks. I didn't know that.
Well, come on.
Okay.
Get a life.
All right, let's
move
get
on.
out of here. Pocket Pair, the studio responsible for this year's early viral hit Palworld, is revealed to be partnering with Sony, sticking with PlayStation for a moment. The new joint venture seems to primarily focus on merchandising and cross-media promotion, but later comments elaborated on the new joint venture, indicating that they would also cooperate on further development of the game. I suppose this is all a bit interesting in the context that Palworld isn't yet out on PlayStation. There was a recent tweet from the community manager that indicated or kind of hinted that a potential release of the game on the platform was imminent. But yeah, nothing officially has kind of been said or revealed. Shannon, what's your sense of this news? Is this PlayStation trying to kind of create a competitor for Pokemon and occupy that kind of style of game for the similarities that exist between them?
My first thought when I saw this, I don't know why, was the argument that we had about, like, is them copying Pokemon okay? Like, that was the first thing my head went to.
Put a pin in that, because I'm going to come back to that in a
I
moment.
concluded and decided it is, clearly, because Sony's investing in it. It is a weird one for all the reasons you just said. It's not on PlayStation.
Can we just clarify though? Isn't this it's not PlayStation?
No,
That-
it is.
it's with
It's
Sony,
for
right?
media, I'm
Yeah.
guessing. Yeah.
But I mean, the fact that they kind of said like they intend for this to, have some involvement in the development of the game, that's where it starts to like feel maybe there is more of an extension to the
And
Sony
I feel
group
like
more broadly.
Sony are thinking as like their gaming franchises as media and games now. It's all in one, apart from Spider-Man, which is all they have outside of that. Yeah, it's interesting. I think, it's obviously been the biggest story of the year. It's shown that it can compete with Pokemon, whether you like the designs or not. And yeah, I don't think Sony has, like, Nintendo has that pathway for gamers in the sense that, like, there's nostalgia and parents want their kids to play it because that's what they did when they were younger. And, like, I don't really... Like, Sony does have that to an extent, but they just don't seem to have a market for the younger generation, which I think they're really trying to craft with, like, Lego Horizon and Astro Bot. And I know this has, like, guns is a little bit more violent, but, like, I feel like as you hit, like, that 13-year-old where you would go to Fortnite, like, that demographic is where you might pick up something like Palworld. So I think it's...
Yeah.
I don't know. It's so hard because I feel like as much as it was viral, I feel like it's dropped off a little bit, and we've seen that happen a lot with games like this.
Yeah. In fairness, a
know.
lot of people played it at the time, and they played it for like a decent
And it's not on
chunk of
PlayStation,
time, and it's
I
not
guess.
really had like major updates.
Yeah,
It's
true.
had one or two, but
I'm not saying it's dead. I'm just saying, like, it doesn't mean that it's going to be a success for the next 20 years based on what we know with your Hoktui, like, rises to fame, and then quickly they
don't bring her into this.
It's smart.
I think PlayStation need to grow their business, right? Like they're like any other business, they're looking for ways to gain more market share and earn more money, as they all do, right? And I think they'll probably be pretty satisfied as to like what they're kind of doing to combat Xbox. Granted, I'm sure they're nervous about the number of acquisitions that Xbox have made, and as evidenced by them fighting that in the courts to the extent that they did. But they're now chasing like this live service model, and I think they're probably now looking at like, okay, well, how can we kind of tap into more of like a family game space and appeal to some of these more kind of casual gamers that Nintendo just make bank with. And they don't really have like the IP to kind of service those markets. And clearly they're now investing in Astrobot. They're trying this thing with Horizon and Lego. I can kind of see this being a bit more of a long-term play to like tap into a growing or emerging IP, and with the hope of kind of having it more of a family-friendly sort of entry. Maybe the kind of thing that can compete with Minecraft and Pokemon, like these kind of more family-friendly sort of games. But yeah, I think they're really kind of just this seems like they're kind of just dipping their toes into that sort of water with this particular deal. Like, to James's earlier point, it seems to be primarily around licensing and merchandising, but I reckon they very much have the intention of growing that further. That's my sort of gut feel from this.
Yeah.
Anything to add, James?
No, not really.
No. Well, let's talk about controversial clones of hit games a little bit more then, and segue over to the first Descendant. Paul Tassi at Forbes highlighted some of the similarities between the first Descendant's iconography and that of Destiny 2's. Destiny 2's kicking off a broader conversation of the comparison between the two games. I think people have been like comparing some kind of like even some kind of marketing artwork of the two games as well, and similarities between those. I don't think either of you have played the first Descendant much yet, have you?
No.
No, I haven't. I can tell a lot about it though from the people who are recommending me to play it, and so
do tell.
To hear that this might be one of those cheap free-to-play games that rips off other games, like
Ewan's a big fan of them. That's the
yeah,
theme.
I'm gonna say, is it a Ewan? Like, is Ewan playing it? Is the Ewan in the room with us right now? But I think yeah, it doesn't surprise me. I feel like this always seems to happen with these games where they're excessively monetized and didn't do any work themselves. Although I'm sure they did to some extent, but
yeah,
I don't know. Go play Remnant.
I don't think it's a particularly inventive game. Like, I was commenting the other day playing through it that a lot of it just feels like sci-fi jargon, just kind of all cobbled together, and it is very reminiscent of Destiny. No doubt they've taken like heavy inspiration of it. Like the kind of mechanics of the game. Actually, no, all the special abilities are very Destiny-like as well. I guess the only real difference is it's like a third-person shooter. But yeah, like, I don't know if it's fair to say it's just like a one-for-one copy or like an outright clone. Like, there's definitely like a layer that they've added on top of it, but
like money-wise, or like
monetization-wise,
things to buy.
It's very rare that a AAA game like is unique in this. Again, I don't know enough about either of these, but I think that no,
it skirts a fine line for sure, and I think like the first Descendant is probably kind of in the danger zone of like just how closely, like there is essentially a tower like kind of hub world that you need to go to interact with all your vendors, and all of that. I mean, there's parts of Destiny that are like missing in the game, like all the kind of factional stuff. I haven't encountered anything like that in the game yet. But I mean, even like by nature of there being this guide character, which is like essentially your ghost in Destiny that is kind of helping you navigate the world and offering technical insight on stuff. Like, yeah, it is very similar. It maybe is like, problematic now that I talk about it.
Did Bungie want anything to come from? I don't know. Oh, okay.
Honestly, it's not as good as Destiny, so I think like Bungie can just kind of rest pretty safely on that. That like at the end of the day, they've got the better game. So what does it matter if someone's trying to do a cheap clone of them? Maybe.
To be fair, there are so many cheap clones of like Zelda, Dark Souls, Metroid on Steam right now, and I guess this one only is getting the most attention because it has been popular.
I guess that's my question. Is like, where does it become like a genre or a format in the same way that like Metroidvanias are a thing, or like the same way that what was I just gonna say?
I think you can have I mean, think about like first person shooter as a genre, right? Like there's games that flow and play similarly to Doom. There's games that play and flow similarly to Rainbow Six, right? Like, but they're all still quite like unique. Like I don't know. Why are you smiling, Shannon?
Yeah,
I'm just enjoying the conversation and my banana caramel pie.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Not in that order. But
no, I agree.
I don't know. I think like when like moves are the same and like the progression is the same. Like would you, as an example, like The Division took so much from Destiny, right? Would
Yeah.
you agree? Like, I feel like I've played that quite a bit. I think you have quite a bit. Shannon, probably not. But like those games, the genre, I would argue they're the same genre in a way. But there's so much that they both do individually unique that kind of still makes them separate from an artistic perspective, like from like art design to even gameplay design, like with the Dark Zone and stuff. Like, I feel like they are very different but similar. Whereas with like First Descendant, like I just look at footage and I think of like Destiny or Remnant.
It's really not distinctive in any sort of meaningful way, I don't think. Which actually, come to think of it, might be like nearing the copyright kind of legal definition. I
feel like Destiny's done anyway, so it's fine.
Well, yeah, it literally is. Isn't it?
Yeah,
Like,
it's the final shape. It's over. Pass the baton.
There'll be many more shapes, apparently. Slightly different shapes.
I don't know what point it's going to be, but I do sort of feel like that a day will come where one of these kind of one of these kind of cases is tested in a courtroom, and that will be interesting to see what kind of precedent that it sets there. And I don't think anyone's been prepared to fight that fight yet, but I think one day it will be. And
if Nintendo isn't going to go after Palworld, or like even Ubisoft for how close Immortals was in certain areas, like it's fine.
Which comparison are you making there?
Immortals and Zelda like had some very
like Breath
for one
mechanics,
like a lot of the way.
I'm following.
Again, when these games are so impactful, like Destiny and Zelda, like you're gonna be inspired by it. Again, I haven't played this, so I don't know how 1-for-1 it is, but I don't know. I don't know how you stop it if you're not literally copying and pasting.
Yeah. Let's just say they could have been definitely a lot more inventive with the character names. If I have to fight a bad guy called Greg anymore, I'm probably going to drop the game.
Greg sounds pretty generic.
You fight Greg once, right? And then he comes back because like some scientist has like kind of enhanced him. So you fight Greg a second time.
But is that a Destiny thing or is that just shit?
I mean, that Destiny probably kind of does similar stuff, to be honest. I'm fairly sure bosses come back as well. But at least their names are a bit more creative. That was where my point with that. Anyhow, let's crack on. One more topic for today, and that is the Horizon Zero Dawn Netflix series being reportedly halted after allegations of toxic behavior and bullying emerged regarding the series' showrunner development has reportedly been halted. I think that was came via Rolling Stone, who initially reported on the allegations as well. Shannon, you're a Horizon fan, much like myself. Are you hopeful that this project will eventually move forward, albeit with a different showrunner, presumably?
I can't say it's one I was like dying to watch. I feel like it will, right? Like just with how Horizon is like one of PlayStation's tentpole franchises, and it's like the story is there. Like a showrunner is important, but surely less so when you've got the characters and the story and how that plays out. I'm sure we won't see it for a while, but I think it'll return in some form.
Yeah, that's my sense as well. Like it'll settle back, but I think they want to definitely capitalize on the interest there is in video game IP at the moment, and this is definitely one of their stronger ones, so it makes a ton of sense. James, would you have any interest in watching a TV adaptation should it materialize?
You know the answer to that.
Stop it. It was the first game, maybe. I don't know. Yeah. Going back to this news, like obviously the whole situation sucks, but why? I feel like can they not? Is there nobody else wanting to make this show?
That was my thought.
Like that's
it's not
like
as if
don't
Ashley
they just get another showrunner?
Has been cancelled,
you know what I mean?
and she's playing Aloy.
Yeah, or like they got sued and now they don't have the rights or something. Like, like I don't like it's weird to me that it's like, okay, it's cancelled. Like, there's no room to get some other creative in.
I think it's probably worth remembering. Like, this is kind of a report that's coming out, right? It's not an official statement from Netflix. I think Netflix would probably go, "Did we have a new showrunner? Like, this is our plan moving forward."
Then, right?
But yeah, they may not have got to that point.
Maybe
and
Netflix
be ready to make that announcement.
They've lost their showrunner and now they don't want to deal with it, so they're cancelling it.
Or
in that
maybe
sense.
they're introducing a new higher paid tier, and that's the only way for you to get Horizon and other great shows.
This is
Probably.
the PlayStation tier to get all our shows.
Netflix.
Although I'm
station.
forgetting that like the PlayStation IPs are kind of all spread out everywhere. Like obviously the
Isn't
Last
God
of
of
Us is
War
with
Amazon?
HBO, God of War's with Amazon, right? Horizon at Netflix. Like yeah,
I think that's the way
is
to
it
do
a
it.
Ghost of Tsushima series happening? I feel like that was announced as
Or a
well,
movie,
right?
I
feel like you-
think.
Or a movie,
Really?
yeah.
I think so.
Wow.
Gran Turismo, great movie.
I haven't watched it yet, actually. I should do
good.
that. Okay, I do have a rapid fire question for you all, if that one wasn't a quick enough topic for you already. And that is that basketball has been added to Nintendo Switch Sports via a free update. Pretty exciting, but I want to know from you both, which sport would you like to see added to the game? James?
Canadian Dodge.
What?
Canadian Dodgeball.
Okay. Is that
That's,
different from dodgeball?
It's a rapid, it's a rapid fire though, Ewan. Let's move on.
Okay.
Is it something you do in your spare time?
so
That's
curious
such a
now.
random, yeah.
I don't know. I just thought it is a thing, isn't it? Or have I made that
Dodgeball
up?
has like made a big comeback.
I don't want to make a joke for fear of being offensive to Canadians.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, no, I'm looking it up now. It looks like I maybe made that up, but
I was going to say
dodgeball. Let's
boxing
just go
because
with-
I don't think boxing is missing from the game, right? And that was one that on the Wii version I loved a bunch. So that
It's
was gonna be my
fencing,
pick.
yeah, no boxing, I don't
darts.
think.
Shannon,
I will say table tennis. I feel like that was in one of them, and
Oh, that's like, but there's like
it's
so
already
many
tennis,
table tennis
though.
games.
yeah, but
like,
you know me,
yeah.
like I live for that. Just more
You
tennis.
literally
Then.
play like actual table tennis every day, pretty much.
I'll do it. Yeah, but I want to play it now, and I can't go outside and play it now. So if I could just fire up my Switch Sports, you won't play with me in the office. So
Oh, you've literally never once asked.
yeah.
Okay.
We did play it once though. Anyhow, What the Wiki is the press up podcast game show where the previous week's winner reads part of a Wikipedia page for an unknown game into which the contestant must guess the game. A point is awarded for each correct guess, with the round ending after one person's bagged themselves 2 points. If you get both games off the bat, 1 and 2, you're awarded a bonus point for the clean sweep, which is exactly what your boy Ewan did last week. So I'm in the hosting chair today. I'm still chasing James though, who's in first place on 22 points. That means I'm in second on 19. Brody, you're tied. Sorry, Shannon, you're tied with Brody on 16 points in third place. Kieran's on 10 and Harry on 5. If you both are ready, I have prepped the games for today. Oh yeah, I forgot about what I did here. Game number 1. Players build racing playsets around the house.
Shannon.
The level Shannon.
What?
Oh, I don't know the name. Mario Kart Live Tour.
I'm not going to pay it. You got the first 3 words correct. There's another 2 that we need.
Really?
Yeah. Good. I was hoping this might stump you. The level creation is performed by placing the guidance arrows along 4 gates to make checkpoints which advance the player through the 5-lap race. The radio-controlled cars are equipped with video cameras controlled via the Nintendo Switch. I know you guys know what the game is, but I'm just killing time by reading out the rest.
James,
The track is...
Googling it.
No, I'm not. I'm not chatting to somebody. Sorry. Let's.
I'll start like embedding clues in the description. The course has many traditional Mario
Shannon,
Kart items.
I think Mario Kart Live Home Tour Circuit.
Oh!
Mario Kart Live Home Circuit.
That's it. Well
Like, I would have
done,
not been
Shannon.
happy if I didn't get that. I wanted to whip that out. That was fun. Again, the other day.
I think I've never played it, but I would love to. Like, it sounds like
great
the
idea.
coolest tech. I think Hot Wheels have done something similar as well, right? But that might not be a game. It's like its own RC thing. Anyhow, I digress. Shannon's off the mark. Game number 2.
You.
The game includes 3 modes, which include casual, tournament, and online. The game primarily features 2020 cricket and is also described as turbocharged, being extremely fast-paced. The game is the first cricket game released for the Nintendo
Shannon.
Switch. Shannon.
Big Bash Cricket.
It's not Big Bash Cricket. No.
James.
Again, so close, James.
Is it Big Bash Boom?
It is Big Bash Boom. Well done, James. Quick update and scoring then. James is out an extra point there, 23. Shannon on 17.
If there was ever a round I was going to
place.
clean sweep, it was going to be that one.
Well, I might have tried to do just that, Shannon, but you've let me down. Game number
Just
3,
so you
the
know.
tiebreaker.
Just so you know, I was sending a screenshot of our video to a friend, and she said, I can't tell who's hosting based on all your expressions.
Were we all looking kind of stressed? Is that why?
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
I
would
felt
especially.
it in that moment. Yeah. Game number 3, the tiebreaker. The game is a 5 versus 5 association football video game. The game shies away from realism in favor of chaotic, over-the-top gameplay. The game maintains... Oh, Shannon.
Super Mario Strikers Supercharged. I don't know what the fucking name is.
No. Kind of. That was a roller coaster, I'll be honest, but no. The game maintains the main premise of the sport where players maneuver players around a field in efforts to pass and shoot a ball into the goal to score points, with the team with the most points at the end of the game winning the game. However, the game takes many liberties with the sport. Aggressive tackles and attacks are completely allowed, though they give the opposing player items to use at their disposal. Items often function in the same way as Mario Kart or Mario Tennis. Banana peels can be placed on the field and characters will slip on them, while shells can be shot at characters to temporarily knock them over. The game is a 2022 sports video game developed by Next Level Games and published by Nintendo for the Nintendo Switch.
I don't know.
It
Mario
was...
Strikers Supercharged. I don't know what the fucking name of it is.
James. Is it Mario Strikers Fusion?
No, it's not.
Mario Strikers Superstars.
What clue can I give you here?
Mario Strikers Fun Time.
So it's 2 words. The first one starts with B. The second starting with L.
Shannon.
Shannon.
Super Mario Strikers Battle League.
It is Battle League. Well done, Shannon.
No recollection of that.
Came through for me in the end. Yeah, so that moves you up to 18 points, Shannon. So
what a
cementing
treat
yourself.
next week to have Shannon host.
Yeah.
Yes. I picked those games because they're all sports games, keeping with the Switch sports theme. But they're all sports games you reviewed, Shannon. I was trying to keep the points away from James as much as I could, but
I love it.
he's
Wow,
too
that's
switched
like
on, you know?
That is like so fucked up.
No, this is part of the strategy that you can play when you win the hosting position.
But everyone's going to play that strategy against me. So, like...
But you still got a point out of it, though, James.
You're just
this is just what we need to do to combat you.
A group of blue shells all on my tail.
It's good game design, that, you know. With that, let's bring an end to what was this week's episode of the Press Start podcast. Subscribe to us on Listen or the podcast service of your choice. Follow us at press.au and visit the site at pressstart.com.au. We've been joined today by Shannon.
Yeah, you can follow me at Shannon Grixty. All over the joint.
And also joining us today was James.
Hi. You can follow me on X at James, ATJAMZ.
And I've been your host, Ewan. You can follow me on socials at Ewan_Roxburgh. Thanks again for tuning in. And until next time, happy gaming.
Good night.
Farewell.